Navigating conflict in a relationship requires a unique blend of patience, understanding, and self-control. From a Stoic perspective, conflict isn't inherently negative. It's an opportunity for growth, for understanding ourselves and our partners more deeply. Conflict often arises not from the situations themselves, but from the way we perceive them. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control others, we can control our reactions. This simple truth can transform how we navigate disagreements in a relationship. Imagine a moment when your partner says something that triggers anger or frustration. In that instant, a Stoic would remind themselves of Epictetus's teaching. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about these things. Your partner's words are external. They exist outside of your control. What you can control is how you interpret them. Are you assuming the worst? Are you letting your ego drive your response? Pause, reflect. The space between stimulus and response is where your power lies. When tension arises, focus on practicing a dichotomy of control. Separate what is within your power from what is not. Your partner's behavior, outside your control. Your interpretation and reaction, completely within your control. By centering yourself on this principle, you free yourself from unnecessary emotional turbulence. Conflict becomes less about winning or proving a point and more about understanding and navigating through differences with grace. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his Meditations, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This quote is a guiding star in moments of disagreement. When your partner voices anger or criticism, instead of reacting defensively, take a deep breath and silently affirm, this is their perspective, not my truth. I am calm. I am steady. Your calmness can de-escalate conflict and pave the way for constructive dialogue. Another Stoic practice crucial for navigating conflict is premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This isn't about pessimism, but preparation. Reflect on the fact that disagreements are inevitable. Your partner, like you, is a human being with flaws, emotions, and insecurities. By expecting imperfection, you're less likely to be caught off guard when a conflict arises. Instead of being reactive, you are ready to approach the situation with patience and clarity. In the heat of conflict, emotions can cloud judgment. Anger, in particular, is a powerful force that can distort our perception and lead to regrettable words or actions. Seneca, in his essay on anger, warns us about its dangers, likening it to madness. When anger begins to bubble, remind yourself of its fleeting nature. Acknowledge the emotion without acting on it. Say to yourself, this is temporary. I do not need to let it define my actions. A moment of restraint can prevent hours, even days, of regret. Active listening is another powerful Stoic tool. Often in conflict, we listen not to understand, but to respond. We prepare our counter-arguments, defend our positions, and seek to assert our rightness. But true listening requires humility. It requires stepping outside of yourself and fully engaging with your partner's words and emotions. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I better understand their perspective? By prioritizing understanding over being understood, you create space for empathy and resolution. Stoics also emphasize the importance of viewing others with compassion. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the interconnectedness of humanity, reminding himself that everyone is doing their best with the knowledge and resources they have at any given moment. Apply this principle to your partner. When they are upset or acting out of character, instead of assuming malice, consider their struggles. What might they be going through that you don't fully see or understand? Approach them not with judgment but with kindness. This shift in perspective can soften even the hardest of conflicts. Silence can be a powerful ally in moments of tension. The Stoics valued the ability to pause, to withhold words until they were sure of their intent. Before speaking, ask yourself 3 questions. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If the answer to any of these is no, consider whether your words are worth saying at all. Sometimes silence can speak louder than any argument. Remember the Stoic principle of amor fati, or the love of fate. This is the practice of embracing everything that happens, even the difficult moments, as necessary and beneficial for your growth. When conflict arises in your relationship, instead of resisting or resenting it, embrace it as an opportunity. What is this teaching you about yourself, about your partner, about the dynamics of your relationship? Every challenge contains a lesson, if only we are willing to learn. Stoicism doesn't promise a life free from conflict, but it does offer a framework for navigating it with calm and wisdom. By focusing on what you can control, listening with humility, approaching with compassion, and embracing challenges as opportunities for growth, you can transform conflict from a source of division into a bridge that strengthens your connection with your partner. Another vital Stoic principle for navigating conflict is the concept of sympatheia, the idea that we are all interconnected and part of a greater whole. When tension arises in a relationship, it's easy to focus on the self, how you were wronged, misunderstood, or hurt. But the sympatheia urges us to see beyond the self and recognize our shared humanity. Your partner, just like you, is navigating the complexities of life, facing challenges and insecurities. In moments of conflict, remind yourself, we are not adversaries, we are allies striving for understanding and harmony. This perspective can shift the energy of a disagreement from confrontation to collaboration. Reflect on the importance of maintaining eudaimonia, the Stoic term for a flourishing life. A flourishing relationship, like a flourishing individual, requires effort, intention, and alignment with virtue. When in conflict, ask yourself, am I acting with virtue? Am I being patient, kind, honest, and courageous in addressing this issue? These questions ground you in principles that transcend the heat of the moment. Virtue is the compass that keeps your relationship aligned, even when emotions threaten to lead you astray. Consider the power of prososh, or attentive mindfulness, in diffusing tension. Often, conflict escalates because we are not fully present. We bring past grievances or future fears into the current moment, magnifying the issue at hand. Stoicism teaches us to anchor ourselves in the present, to deal with what is directly before us without adding unnecessary layers of complexity. The next time you find yourself in a heated discussion, focus on what is being said, not what has been said in the past or what you fear might come next. Address the issue as it stands, not as a proxy for deeper frustrations. The Stoics also remind us to keep our emotions in check, not by suppressing them, but by understanding them. Seneca wrote extensively about the importance of mastering our passions, likening them to wild horses that must be guided with a steady hand. In the context of a relationship, this means recognizing when emotions like anger, jealousy, or fear are taking the reins. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What am I truly reacting to? Often, the root of our emotional response is not the immediate situation, but a deeper insecurity or unmet need. By addressing the root rather than the surface, we can navigate conflict more effectively. And a practice that can deepen your emotional resilience is voluntary discomfort. While this may seem unrelated to relationships at first glance, its relevance becomes clear when you consider its purpose: to train yourself to endure difficulty without losing your composure. By occasionally stepping outside your comfort zone, whether through physical challenges like fasting or mental exercises like imagining loss, you build a reserve of strength that helps you stay calm in the face of relational conflict. When emotions run high, this practiced resilience becomes a stabilizing force. Another Stoic exercise that proves invaluable in relationships is the view from above. When you feel consumed by a disagreement, imagine zooming out as though you were observing your life from a bird's eye perspective. See yourself and your partner as small figures in the vast tapestry of existence. Recognize how fleeting this moment is in the grand scheme of your lives together. This perspective doesn't minimize the importance of the issue, but helps you approach it with a sense of proportion. Not every disagreement needs to be a battle. Many conflicts, when viewed from above, reveal themselves to be opportunities for humility and connection. Practice gratitude, even in the midst of conflict. It may feel counterintuitive to express appreciation when tensions are high, but gratitude is a powerful antidote to resentment. Reflect on the qualities you admire in your partner, the moments of joy you've shared, and the strength of your bond. When you feel gratitude, it's harder to hold on to anger. A simple, heartfelt acknowledgement. I know we're struggling right now, but I'm grateful for your willingness to talk through this, can shift the tone of the conversation and open the door to resolution. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-reflection and accountability. After a conflict, take time to evaluate your own behavior. Ask yourself, did I act in accordance with my values? Could I have listened better, spoken more kindly, or shown greater understanding? The goal is not self-recrimination, but growth. Every conflict, no matter how painful, holds a lesson. By learning from these moments, you not only improve your relationship, but also grow as an individual. Incorporate these Stoic practices into your daily interactions, not just during times of conflict. Make self-control, compassion, and perspective your constant companions. When challenges arise, you'll find that you're better equipped to handle them with grace. Relationships, like life, are a journey filled with trials and triumphs. By applying the wisdom of Stoicism, you can navigate the stormy seas of conflict with calm, clarity, and a steadfast commitment to love and understanding. To further explore how Stoicism can guide us in navigating conflict within relationships, let's delve deeper into the practical applications of Stoic teachings. A critical aspect of managing disagreements lies in the art of logikos dialektos, or rational discourse. Stoicism teaches us to prioritize reason over emotion, but this does not mean dismissing emotions altogether. Instead, it means acknowledging them, understanding their origins, and then consciously choosing to respond based on rationality rather than impulse. When emotions run high, it can be helpful to invoke the Stoic practice of self-distancing. This involves imagining how a wise third party, someone you deeply respect, might view the situation. How would they advise you to act? This mental exercise not only provides clarity, but also introduces a layer of accountability. If you wouldn't act in a certain way in front of someone you admire, why would you act that way with your partner? This exercise helps you maintain your composure and approach the conflict with dignity. In relationships, conflicts often stem from misaligned expectations. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us to examine and adjust our expectations, not to lower them, but to align them with reality. He says, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger." This insight is particularly powerful in relationships. Instead of dwelling on how your partner has fallen short, consider whether your expectations were communicated clearly, were realistic, or if they were rooted in your own unmet needs. This introspection can often transform blame into understanding. Equally important is the practice of Stoic rejoicing. This concept involves celebrating the fact that you have the opportunity to exercise virtue in difficult times. When faced with a disagreement, tell yourself, "Here is a chance for me to practice patience, to deepen my understanding and to strengthen our bond. Reframing the conflict as an opportunity rather than a setback can shift your mindset from defensive to constructive. It transforms what feels like a loss into a chance for mutual gain. A particularly profound Stoic practice is memento mori, the reflection on mortality. While this might seem morbid, its purpose is to bring clarity and perspective. In the midst of conflict, remind yourself that life is fleeting and the time you have with your partner is finite. Ask yourself, if this were our last day together, is this how I would want to spend it? This practice doesn't mean ignoring important issues or avoiding difficult conversations, but it does encourage you to approach these moments with care and urgency, prioritizing love and understanding over pride or stubbornness. When discussing Stoicism and relationships, we cannot overlook the role of phronesis or practical wisdom. Practical wisdom requires us to balance the virtues of courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom in our interactions. In the context of a disagreement, this might mean having the courage to address a sensitive topic, the justice to consider your partner's perspective fairly, the temperance to keep your emotions in check, and the wisdom to choose your words carefully. This balanced approach ensures that even in conflict, you're acting in alignment with virtue and integrity. To build on this, consider the Stoic concept of apatheia, often misunderstood as the suppression of emotion. True apatheia is not about becoming emotionless, but about cultivating freedom from destructive passions. When your partner says or does something that stirs anger or hurt, practice observing the emotion without becoming attached to it. Picture it as a passing cloud in the sky of your mind. This detachment allows you to engage with the situation without being overwhelmed by your feelings, enabling you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Regular practice of gratitude is another Stoic tool that can soften conflict and build a stronger foundation for resolving disagreements. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself to be thankful for the people in his life, even those who challenged him. In your relationship, make it a habit to express gratitude not only during calm moments, but also during conflicts. For example, saying, "I appreciate that you're willing to discuss this with me, even though it's difficult," can shift the tone of the conversation and remind both of you of the underlying care and commitment in your relationship. Stoicism also encourages us to embrace the concept of equanimity. This is the state of remaining calm and composed regardless of external circumstances. Cultivating equanimity doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending that everything is fine. It means maintaining your inner peace while addressing the issue at hand. When a disagreement arises, pause and take a few deep breaths. Remind yourself that your peace of mind is not dependent on the outcome of the argument, but on how you choose to handle it. This calm presence can be incredibly grounding for both you and your partner. An often overlooked aspect of Stoicism is the importance of laughter and joy. Seneca himself wrote about the value of humor in navigating life's challenges. Even in the midst of conflict, finding a moment to share a smile or a light-hearted comment can ease tension and remind both of you that your relationship is bigger than this disagreement. Humor, when used with kindness and not sarcasm, can serve as a bridge back to connection. Remember that every conflict is an opportunity to practice forgiveness. Forgiveness in the Stoic sense is not about condoning bad behavior, but about freeing yourself from the burden of resentment. When you forgive your partner, you're not only extending grace to them, but also to yourself. You're choosing to let go of anger and create space for healing and growth. As Epictetus reminds us, forgive others for their misdeeds and accept them as they are. This is the path to peace. By integrating these Stoic practices into your approach to conflict, you're not just resolving disagreements, you're transforming them into opportunities for personal and relational growth. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies not in avoiding difficulties, but in facing them with courage, wisdom, and a steadfast commitment to virtue. In this way, every challenge becomes a chance to deepen the bond with your partner and to grow into a more resilient, compassionate version of yourself. Building on the foundation of Stoicism in relationships, let's further explore the dynamics of conflict resolution with a focus on deeper emotional intelligence and sustained harmony. The Stoics teach us that relationships, like life itself, are impermanent and filled with both joy and challenges. Embracing this truth allows us to approach our partners with a sense of reverence and appreciation, even in moments of disagreement. One powerful Stoic practice for sustaining harmony in relationships is daily reflection, also known as evening review. At the end of each day, reflect on your interactions with your partner. Ask yourself, did I act with kindness and patience today? Was I fair and just in my responses? Could I have communicated more effectively or shown greater understanding? This practice encourages accountability without self-criticism. By acknowledging both your strengths and areas for improvement, you set a tone of continuous growth and self-awareness, which positively impacts your relationship. Stoicism also teaches us the importance of understanding nature, both your own and your partner's. Each person has their own temperament, preferences, and ways of expressing themselves. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to expect imperfections in others, saying, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot distinguish between good and evil." While this might seem harsh, it's a reminder to approach others with patience and compassion rather than unrealistic expectations. Apply this wisdom to your partner by recognizing their humanity and embracing their imperfections as part of their nature. During conflicts, it's essential to practice the Stoic principle of parrhesia, or courageous speech. This involves speaking the truth with both honesty and kindness. When addressing a sensitive topic, choose your words carefully and ensure they are guided by the virtues of justice and temperance. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," you might say, "I feel unheard when I try to share my feelings, and I'd like us to work on better communication." This approach balances honesty with a constructive tone, making it easier for your partner to engage without becoming defensive. To complement courageous speech, engage in a Socratic questioning, a technique inspired by the Stoics' reverence for Socratic dialogue. When conflict arises, ask open-ended questions that encourage understanding rather than blame. For instance, what were you feeling when that happened? Or how can we address this in a way that works for both of us? By focusing on curiosity and exploration, you shift the conversation from conflict to collaboration, creating a space where both perspectives can be heard and valued. Another key Stoic strategy for conflict resolution is the principle of prohairesis, or moral choice. This concept emphasizes that while external events and other people's actions are beyond our control, our choices in response to these events are entirely within our power. When your partner says something hurtful or disagrees with you, remember that their words or actions cannot harm your inner peace unless you allow them to. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By choosing patience, understanding, and restraint, you protect your peace of mind and set an example of virtuous behavior. In the midst of tension, it's also helpful to recall the Stoic practice of anchoring thoughts to universal truths. For example, reflect on the fact that every conflict, no matter how intense, is temporary. Time has a way of softening disagreements and bringing perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? This reflection often reveals that many conflicts are less significant than they feel in the moment. allowing you to focus on resolution rather than escalation. Stoics also emphasize the importance of shared purposes in relationships. When facing a disagreement, remind yourself and your partner of the bigger picture. You are not adversaries, but teammates working toward a shared goal, a healthy, fulfilling relationship. Explicitly stating this can be powerful. I know we're frustrated right now, but I believe in us, and I want us to find a solution together. This affirmation reorients both partners toward unity, even in the face of discord. Another practice to foster harmony is Stoic visualization. Before engaging in a potentially difficult conversation, take a moment to visualize a positive outcome. Picture yourself listening attentively, speaking calmly, and resolving the issue with mutual respect. This mental rehearsal not only reduces anxiety, but also sets the tone for a more constructive interaction. As the Stoics believed, our minds are powerful tools that shape our reality, and visualizing success can guide us toward it. When apologies are warranted, Stoicism encourages us to approach them with sincerity and humility. A genuine apology isn't about placating the other person or avoiding conflict. It's about taking responsibility for your actions and making amends. Reflect on Seneca's advice. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor. In this context, craving to be seen as right or to protect your ego impoverishes your relationship. Instead, a simple, heartfelt apology, "I see how my words hurt you and I'm sorry," can repair trust and demonstrate your commitment to growth. Finally, incorporate rituals of connection into your daily life. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of gratitude and intentionality in human interactions. In your relationship, small acts of kindness, a thoughtful note, a warm hug, or a moment of shared laughter can build a reservoir of goodwill that helps weather conflicts. By consistently investing in your bond, you create a foundation of trust and affection that makes resolution easier when disagreements arise. Relationships are one of life's most profound arenas for practicing Stoic principles. They challenge us to embody patience, humility, courage, and wisdom while offering countless opportunities for growth and connection. By integrating these Stoic practices into your relationship, you cultivate not only a deeper bond with your partner, but also a stronger, more resilient self. In this way, even the storms of conflict become stepping stones on the path to a flourishing life together. Navigating conflict in relationships is a journey that tests our patience, humility, and emotional resilience. Through the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, we can transform these challenges into opportunities for growth, deeper connection, and lasting harmony. By practicing self-control, embracing compassion, and focusing on what we can control, we not only strengthen our relationships, but also grow as individuals. Remember, the path of Stoicism is not about perfection, but progress. Each disagreement is a chance to practice virtue, to listen more deeply, and to understand your partner better. With these principles as your guide, you can approach conflict not with fear or frustration, but with calm and confidence. If you found value in this video, don't forget to give it a like, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel for more Stoic wisdom and practical life tips. Let's continue this journey together, learning and growing one step at a time. Thanks for watching.